Welcome to episode number 13 of the Feeney Call. Tonight we are bringing on Delaware bonestock rookie Jessy Howard. She did pretty good this week as she finished second in her heat, qualifying right to the A main with a huge field of cars. It looks very, very difficult to qualify for the A main down at Delaware right now. Sometimes they're sending 14, 15 cars home, which some tracks are lucky to get 14, 15 cars. So, real happy to see her do better this week. And as a rookie, it's one of the learning things that, sometimes you have better days, sometimes you have bad days. But proud of her for getting good results this week. For me, we had the Peterborough Speedway mini stock, and actually no, the super stocks were off, so we just had the mini stock. And the first heat, we won the first heat. Car was okay. Made some more changes to it for heat two. Able to focus on it a little better. I was actually able to work on some things and et cetera, et cetera. And I just had a racing deal happen on the first lap. I was trying to be aggressive, make a pass, get up to the front two, and me and the car inside touched wheel to wheel and just shot me around. And then I got clipped bending the left rear tire the wrong way. But we made it back up to fourth in that heat, which didn't kill our efforts, but didn't help them very much for qualifying. Because I think everybody basically broke even in the top a little bit for qualifying. And so a first and a fourth put us, I think, fifth on the initial start. Sorry, my cat's craving attention right now. No, so by the fifth on the initial start, we had a caution about a first lap in, and that put us to sixth because we crossed the line six on the initial start. It was a weird way that it got scored, but I guess when they go back lap, it's literally as we cross, taking the green flag. Slowly worked my way up to third place for the feature for back-to-back third place in the mini stock, which I can't complain about that because the car doesn't get a lot of work done to it. We make very small changes to it week in, week out. The fact that we're down to the 16.0 bracket now from, I want to say I started this year at 16.5, 16.3. So we've made 0.3 to half a second, which I feel is pretty comparable gains for very minimal input. A lot of it's just me learning to drive the car a little better. Some of it's just trusting the car a little bit more, where the car was a little sketchy at the first few weeks, and I had to teach myself how to drive mini stock again, because I've never really owned a mini stock. I've driven bone stocks as a mini, and I had one that was a subpar car, but it did all right at Peterborough. But yeah, that's all for the results for this week. But without further ado, I'm going to introduce Jessy Howard. And joining us this week on the Feeney Call podcast is Jessy Howard. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you on here, and we're having a special rookie month in August here. So why don't you tell some people about yourself?
I'm 16 years old. I just started racing this year, so it's my rookie year in the Wampum Fields bonestock division at Delaware, and I've wanted to race ever since I was little, so it's just been a dream.
So you were telling me earlier that your dad was racing, what was it, 30 years ago or like something like that?
He
Did you
raced
ever,
for it, yeah. Sorry.
yeah. Did you ever get to watch him race or you seen videos of him race or
I've seen pictures and videos, but he retired like the year I was born, so I never got to watch him in person.
so he must love seeing you out there nowadays.
Yep.
So you're driving as part of the BT racing team down at Delaware, and they're huge car counts. Chris has got over 50 cars that he's been begging for a long time. What's it like racing against that many cars?
It's pretty fun. I'm not as fast as most of them, but I try my best to keep up. And when I do, it's pretty fun to have that achievement of keeping up to one of Chris's bone stocks. So
Oh, I'm not gonna lie, I don't even think I could make the A main down there because like I haven't driven a bone stock competitively since probably 2018, I think it was when I jumped up. And like I've driven Delaware once in the super stock and I was dead last. So you're doing better than me there. So what made you decide to get into racing other than your dad and stuff like that? What was the light switch moment where like, you know what, I have to do this?
my dad was a big part of it, just that. And then growing up around the track and being able to watch my sister, Cassie Howard, Miss Penny, and Nicole Gibbons race has like impacted me where I want to join them and prove that girls can race just as good or even better than the boys.
And that seems to be the thing is like you guys in the BT racing team have become like a giant family to the point now that trophy girl Chris Lawrence, like who is like the next one vying to be climbing the fence with Chris? Like, is it a competition of who gets to climb the fence next? And like, what's the stipulation? Like, is it any feature win or is it just the A main?
Any feature win, I think. I don't know. He just shows up at victory lane and is like, "We're climbing the fence. Let's go."
So it's not even planned. It's just guess what? We're going to the top.
Pretty much.
So what you're saying is you're really hoping to climb the fence real soon.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
So in how long have you been racing? Is this your first year racing?
Yep.
So what's your goals for the rest of the season?
I want to try and make the A main as much as possible. I haven't been able to do it in a couple weeks, so it's been kind of frustrating, but I at least want to make the A main or have 24 8-second laps consistent.
Yeah, because I was gonna say making the A main, it's what, 34 cars each week down at Delaware?
I think depending on how many they get, they take 36 at times, but yeah.
Yeah. That's 14 cars if it's 36 and it's 50 cars going home. And that's bigger than some like car counts at the tracks for their entire car count. So like you're in the deep end of the talent pool down the bone stock and you have some of the best drivers in the province coming down. Like you have Joe Lawrence, Chris Lawrence, Phil Gibbons, Nicole Gibbons, and you have a bunch of ringers, especially the Chris isn't helping out by putting a whole bunch of like APC guys in these cars. But who do you like driving against the most when you're out there?
I like driving against our cars, to be honest. I'm slower than pretty much everyone out there, so it's nice to drive against the faster cars that are normally finishing top 10 in the features in like a corner that I get to battle with them until they drive off, but I like to race with them.
Well, it's you're still young, you're still learning. It's all about getting experience, and some of these people have millions of laps. They would lap me no problem. And like even if they came to Peterborough, I bet you Chris would lap me in my own car. But so a few people have asked and stuff like that. Like you and your sister racing together, and she's doing the merchandise now, I think, for most of your guys' drivers. So what car number is it you drive? Because I've been mixing you guys up all week trying to figure it out. So she's what, the 59 and you're the
The
which number again?
23,
Yeah, I
the
was gonna say
20.
like because half the pictures on your Facebook are her commenting on her race. So I'm
Yeah.
like, which car is which? So
Yeah.
is there reasoning behind the number 23? Or is it
Um, yes, it's the day of my birthday, so I was born July 7th, the 23rd of July, and it's the year I started racing, so 23.
So you're doubling down on 23 now. So, like you said, you're fighting to make the A main every week. Have you ever like considered racing other places other than Delaware to like build up some experience, or like you trying to get hang of Delaware before you travel anywhere? Or?
I'm trying to get used to Delaware first and pick up more speed before I start traveling. So we might travel next year, but it's all just based on how much I improve.
So, how much does Chris work with you to like help you improve? Like, I know you guys have Monday practice and stuff like that, and then you have your racing, but like, how much is Chris able to help you with all these like bone stocks and stuff like that?
Chris always takes time. If I ask him a question, he always takes time to answer it. And it's not just one word question, like one word answers anyways. It's always like, here's a list of things you can try. Like if they don't work, come back. And then the one night at practice, he was determined to get me down to 24 eighths. And he brought his late model, what's it called?
Radios?
Radios, yeah. And he was walking me through the corners and it got me down to a 24/8. So he puts a lot of time into all his development drivers and
So, with you working to get better and better as you do each week, what are some of the steps that you do? Do you like watch a lot of video of like your old races, or like do you have like in-car GoPros that you go watch and try to see what you're doing in and out of the cars?
I try and watch Rogers. They mainly only take like the first top five is what they focus on. But if there's a chance where I am in frame, I like to focus on what I'm doing and watching the faster guys that are in BT racing and see if I can like take notes from them on what they do and try it myself for the next week.
So, as you were new to racing, what do you suggest for people like yourself that are getting into racing, like how to start and like who to contact and like what steps do you think people should take to follow in your footsteps to start racing?
Definitely contact Chris. His rental program is amazing to get new drivers into the cars. But if you're gonna start racing by yourself, I would just listen to all the drivers that have more experience than you. You might not like the advice they're giving you, but it's gonna help you in the long run.
So, you get to talk to Chris. Who's like one of the like favorite people you get to talk to at the racetrack? Like when you're going to talk to advice, it's besides Chris, is like, is there like a certain people that maybe even outside the group that you go like talk to and you like bugging or?
Um, I don't. I know I talk to Alex Stewart and Brady Cox a lot, and they kind of try and help me out. But if it's not Chris, I'm mainly going to Joe. So
I hope you pick on Alex for always losing his front bumpers.
I do.
All right, good. I make fun of Alex every time I see him for losing his front bumpers, especially when he lost it at a car show.
Yep,
So you're driving is it a Sunfire Cavalier?
I think so.
One of the two, right?
Yep.
So what's it like? Because I think he's got almost all Sunfires and Cavaliers, other than I think one or two Cobalts, correct?
Yep.
So have you like ever played like seat shuffle? Like you get to try like different cars in the BT racing program, or just like
Um,
the one?
just my car. Last year I tried his other rental car as like on a Monday night practice to see if I really did want to race. But other than that, it's just been my car.
So with Chris having, was it 13 bone stocks, if
Yep.
not more, and he does put in some of these bigger names, like he has J.R. Fitzpatrick of Flamborough. He's had Graydon Bunn come down. We're putting Joe Mo in a car later this year. Um, who is somebody you'd like to see Chris put in a car so you get a race against to get the experience? And who's like someone that you've already had a chance to race with that like you didn't think you'd ever get to race against?
Um, I'd like to see Connor Pertico in a car, if I'm being honest. He drives the 19 late model at Delaware. Um, I'm not sure who my favorite driver I've raced against that's rented a car is. I don't know.
We, Graydon's going to be very upset that you didn't mention him.
Well, yeah, Graydon was fun to race with, but there's just been so many people, so I probably have a top five, I think.
So, who's your? You said you like racing your team, but like you also like racing a bunch of people and stuff like that. Who is one person that you have aimed yourself to like run against like for the remainder of the season to like try to catch up to? Like who's like your rabbit you're trying to chase?
Um, Probably my sister, but out of BT racing, I would say Jack Dixon because he's mid-pack and he's running around the same lap times as my sister, so it's always fun to try and keep up with him.
So how many more races in the season do you still have left down in Delaware? I'm not familiar with the schedule.
Um, I think we started with 12 or 13 races, and we've already done five, I think,
What's the last weekend you race?
for the whole season.
Yeah.
I would think it's the Pumpkin Smasher,
And that's what, October 1st weekend or something like that?
September 30th. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you doing the pumpkin smasher or
Yep.
so how does that work? Is Delaware's big special event for the Bonestocks being the pumpkin smasher? I've never even seen this. So like how does this work?
They do, I think it's a 100 lap race, and they do the first 50. It's a points race. So the first 50 is no pumpkins, track is clear. You just go and race. And then they take the cars off the track for a break, and they have the fans in the stands buy a pumpkin for I think $2 to $5, depending on size, and all proceeds go to charity. And then during the intermission, everyone can come down and smash their pumpkin in turn one. And then for the remainder 50 laps, we have to race through the pumpkins.
So that would create a very unique situation and very slippery situation going through one and two, I guess. So how far does this pumpkin goo and guts get traveled through the track by the end of the 50 laps?
I think it mainly stays where they smash them. It just tends to go to the walls, like outer. So
Because I remember was it the 55 car, the Nissan Sentra? He came to Autumn Colors right after the pumpkin smasher. His car was dripping pumpkin seeds and everything as he's going through tech, and I am dying laughing because it just looks like a riot. How much are you looking forward to doing that race and just basically smiling ear to ear and it's going to smell like a pumpkin spice latte in there?
um I think I'm a little nervous because it is going to be slippery and it's in a corner, so have to know how to control the car, but I think by then I'll be good to go. So it's going to be different for sure.
Is Chris putting a clause in anyone that runs that race has to help clean the cars afterwards, or is he just going to be really busy with the pressure washer for like 6 months?
I don't know. I don't know. It's a good question.
So we had a bunch of fan questions come in. I think you have the most amount of fan questions I've got since I've started doing the podcast, especially because you post on Instagram, which I don't use a lot because I'm not social friendly. I have Jomo do most of my social media for me. So I'm going to start them off with Brady Cox, who's actually asked serious questions, which everyone was surprised about.
Yeah.
What has been your most challenging thing about your rookie season?
I would say trying to make the A main and trying to, I don't know, keep up with everyone. So,
He also asked what was the most fun part of the season so far.
just being able to race and having the chance to be behind the wheel. Just, and the community, the racing community has been great.
All right. Spencer Riddell from Flamborough wants to know, do you plan on running any specials or trying different tracks this year?
I think the only special I'm gonna race is the Pumpkin Smasher. And then I know Delaware has a 50 lapper in August that I'm gonna be racing too. But that's it, and I don't plan on traveling to any other tracks.
So even if you're not racing, are you traveling to like come watch and stuff like that, or
I'll probably go to Enduros at Flamborough, but that's only if Chris asks. So
you should try to see if Chris will bring you to like the Autumn Colors Classic for the Thanksgiving long weekend. It is a riot. There's parties, there's freaking music going. It's 3 solid days of racing and it's crazy. It's very entertaining to watch. So Brady's second question here was, who has been your biggest help or leaders to you so far?
I would say Chris and Penny. They have been there for me the whole time, and Joe, even though Joe likes to joke around with me, it's he's always there if I need help. So they've been the my biggest helpers so far.
So I've always made this comment because I kind of joke around and stuff like with the people I race with, that if we're joking around, it's like we like the person, like we're hoping they do better. But it's like if all of a sudden like it's like we don't like the person, we don't talk to them at all, or like we're super serious with. So I feel like if someone's joking around with you, they like you still, right? So your sister wants to know, what's it like racing with her?
I haven't gotten much opportunities to race with her because she's always ahead of me or in a different feature. So there was one time in the LCQ when she was lapping me while going for the checkered flag, and my car was pushing in the corners. And the one time it pushed, because I had a bent tie rod, the one time it pushed is when she was on the outside of me and I came in contact with her. But that's really the only time I've raced against her, so it's
It's
fun,
it's all right. Eight wheels corner way better than four, and it's your sister. She has to forgive you.
right?
So, um, Graydon Bun wants to know, what is it like being a race car driver first and then going to get your driver's license?
It does, racing does build up your, like, you're more aware of your surroundings and your defensive driving skills. So I think that's good for when I start driving on the roads. But I never really thought about that though. So
I can tell you from experience that when you're going to do your driver's test, make sure when somebody cuts you off, you don't flip them off or anything like that because the instructors don't like that very much. And at the same time, they don't like if you start blocking a guy if they get a run. Just so you know. So let me go over to your the ones you sent me here off of Instagram. Do squirrel. My full ADHD kicking in. So we have from Nicole Givens asking when you're going to beat your sister.
I don't think that's gonna be for a while. Probably next year, hopefully. But I don't think this year, unless something happens to her car and she can't finish the race then.
Yeah, but I feel like it's like you have to beat somebody on the track for it to count. Like
True.
like as much as you can still get bragging rights for like the week or two, I know you'll still want to like actually pass her to beat her for it to be
Yeah.
like you feel like you did it.
Yeah.
So Max Borland, I think it is. I probably said that wrong because I'm horrible with names. Wants to know what it's like being a part of PT racing.
It's great. I mean, the community is amazing. Everyone at the track, even the renters, are always like they always have a smile on their face. So it's a great community and team to be a part of.
And then he also wants to know what made you get into racing.
Um, like I said earlier, watching Nicole, Cassie, and Miss Penny I wanted to jump alongside them and prove that girls can race too.
So you've watched, I'm assuming, a lot of G-Force TV and other broadcasts and stuff like that because you seem to be a pretty big diehard, race fan with your like Funko Pops up there of your Chase Elliott and stuff like that we were talking about before we hit the record button. Who are some of the people like once you start traveling and once you start getting better, you want to actually go and race against them? Like, is there like someone like a Victoria McLennan in Peterborough Speedway, or is there like a Megan Mitchell or Reese Bourgeois? I think that's how you pronounce the last name at Flamborough, or like some of the girls at Flamborough, like, or is there like other people that you like to see yourself drive against? Like, because you seem to like pitting yourself against other girls to be like, all right, who's the best?
I when I do try Flamborough, I like to race against everyone, all the girls there. They seem like pretty good race car drivers, so I've seen them a couple times and they're really good. And then I do race against two girls at Delaware, and their names or three, sorry, because they're more around my speed, is Hannah Lamont, Sarah Wheel, and I think Cara Martin. But I think Cara races up at Grand Bend more often. But it's always fun to race against them too. So
Yeah, I think at Flamborough Speedway, I think the girls are actually more dominant there between Jillian Hills and Reese Bourgeois. I think they've walked away with the last like 3 or 4 championships and most of the race wins. It's good seeing like it's slowly becoming equal. Like it used to be like there'd be 1 or 2 girls, but like it seems like more and more girls are getting into racing. What do you think as a female competitor like will intrigue more females to get into racing, like instead of it just, mostly guys getting into it?
I feel like seeing all of us girl racers that are already racing gives them a little bit more like, oh, I can do this, and like I'm not gonna get judged if I do. So I think if more girls get into racing, that'll lead more girls that are seeing that'll want to join us. So,
So when you do like the fan appreciation night and you're signing autographs and stuff like that and hero cards, do you have like any of your classmates that come up? Like, because I assume you're still in school like for another year, right?
so,
So like, do you have any of your classmates comes from like your high school or stuff like that and be like, I didn't know you raced, like, and then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, this is what I do on weekends.
I think I've only had three come down, but that's pretty much it. But when I'm doing fan appreciation, and I always like when a little girl comes up, her face just lights up to see me. So I'm always like, get in the car and all this stuff. So they're always super happy.
So speaking of that, what's one of the best fan experiences that you've had like as a driver that you got to do with a fan?
Um, I would say we had our cars on display for the Monster Truck Showdown at Delaware, and there was a fan that came up and they just did not want to leave the cars. Like they were getting in every single one and rotating it. And I also had a little girl that didn't want to get out of my car, so it was kind of great to see that she was interested in it. So
How bad when you seen the monster trucks did you want a monster truck afterwards? Because I know every time I see them, I want a monster truck.
I think I'll leave that to the drivers that already drive them.
You're telling me it doesn't look like fun?
It looks like fun, but I think it would throw me off to have to control the back tires with a toggle switch. So,
Was Jim Kohler there driving Avenger?
yep.
Yeah, he is wild. So back in, oh God, I'm old. 2010, I think it was 2010, 2011. I'm doing a derby down at Skydome when they have the monster truck showdown at Skydome. Jim Kohler broke his truck during the driver intros. I am helping him like fix the truck because his whole team is out doing driver intros with other drivers, and he is a great person too. Like he reminds me a lot about like a local like short track racer because he's laughing, he's joking around, even though his truck's broke and like he doesn't know he's gonna go. But yeah, if you ever get a chance to freaking talk to him, he'll make you laugh. But wear earplugs because he is loud. There's a reason why they call him Team Scream.
We used to go when they had them at the Bud Gardens here in London. I remember going once when I was little.
So as you're like getting in racing and progressing, what classes would you like to move up and try like throughout your career? Because you still have a long way to go for
I'm not
like
sure. I'm not totally sure. I mean, it'd be nice to drive like try a super stock at least once in my career, but right now I'm not too sure. I want to focus on the bone stock.
you're not looking ahead to be like, oh, I want to get to a pro late model one day. It's you're just having fun and big smile on your face.
Yep.
So, what are some things that you would consider a common mistake for, say, a rookie to come in and do from driving, say, like a road car to racing on the track? I don't know if you've driven a road car much, but
Um, I don't know, to be honest. Maybe how much they're braking in the corners. Because I know to do corners in like on the road, you have to brake quite a lot. So they might think that you have to brake to go around the corners at track when you don't have to brake that much. So I think that might get them a little bit.
so with me, so I have my iRacing steering wheel here. So the biggest thing I had to learn from driving on the racetrack and the road was a corner on the road is like this, right? And if you do that in a bone stock, you're just squealing tires for no good reason and smoking and burning them off. Where like even in my mini stock now to corner, it's like hold on, it's like that. That's all the wheel turns. And it's like Peterbilt's a really weird animal to get around just because like if you hit the curb right, the whole car like rotates and you actually turn right to go around the whole corner. But my car carries. Do you carry the left rear tire in that car down at Delaware?
Um, I don't know. I know all of ours are on the ground then, if that's what you mean.
Yeah. So my car, if you watch some of the cars at Flarenville, you see the left rear come off the ground when they're
Oh,
like above the apron. So my car at Peterborough carries that left rear tire like 3/4 of the way around the track. It only touches on the backstretch for a little bit. Anytime that car has any turn in it, it has the left rear off the ground. I have no idea why. I haven't looked into it, but it's a lot of fun because it scares so many people.
yeah. At Delaware, you don't want that. You want your car to be all four tires on the ground. Some people think it's faster, but it's not really
To be fair, at every track, you want all four tires on the ground.
true.
It's just so. Have you heard of Andy Camrath?
A little bit.
So Andy Camrath had a really fast mini stock, probably 5, 6 years ago, maybe not even that far, where his Honda Civic, the left rear tire, I don't think it ever touched the ground. He has track records everywhere. So they don't realize it was just Andy was that good of a driver and he figured out things before the rest of us figured it out. But yeah, everyone's trying to figure out why he was fast, and the biggest thing they thought of was he carries his left rear tire through the corner, so that's got to be it. But not every car likes that. So you drive the bone stock division. Is there any like kind of cars in the bone stock division you'd like to try, like other than what you got? Like, would you like to try like an Integra, or would you like to try like a Neon, or is it just like you're happy with what you got? Or
Happy with what I got.
see, I was trying to get Chris to build you a brand new car, but you're happy with what you got.
Yep.
So how
Because
much do you?
I know Joe went out in a similar car last year and won the championship. So I know that these cars are capable. It's just the driver, I guess, because my car, Chris took it out for practice and it can run a 24/4, but I'm still 25 flats. So I think the driver just needs to step up her game.
It's a weird thing to tell yourself to drive a car halfway on the edge, and it's like a bone stock is super hard to drive. Like you would actually have an easier time driving at speed in like a super stock that was set up properly around Delaware than a bone stock. Like if you could literally put me in freaking any car at Peterborough Speedway. I drove the entire like list of classes in 1 year. And the one I suffered in most was the bone stock and the mini stock because they take the most amount of talent to drive because there's so little things you could do to adjust them to actually drive better.
Yep.
So like this is where I feel like a driver like yourself is learning so much because what's happening is you're learning all the skills about how to save your tires, save your brakes, save like and like you're learning the proper ways of racing instead of just jumping in a car that does all the work for you. So you get to learn like all these little fine details of how to make everything work like properly, right?
Hmm.
So I'm gonna give you a few minutes here. Why don't you thank some of your sponsors and like why don't you list like where people can find your merchandise and stuff like that? Because I know your sister started making shirts and stuff like that.
Yeah, hold on, I'm gonna pull up my list. I wrote them down. Um, for the merchandise, you can always just contact my sister at Cassie Howard on Facebook or her photography, her KPH racing photos, also on Facebook. So there's those for her because she makes all of our merchandise. And then for my sponsors, I have BT Racing, Jerry's Truck Center Limited, Holly Gully, McCall Parts Depot, Mount Bridges Bulldogs, Kaniski Manufacturing, KPH Photography, Jesse Kennedy with Wampum Fuels to sponsor the division, and Dad's to sponsor BT Racing. Corey's Tire and Auto, I know a local guy, and Auto Fusion Towing. Oh,
So
and Dana's Desserts. Can't forget about Dana.
I can't wait to get down to Delaware. I've been wanting to try some of Dana's snacks forever. She posts them on Facebook and I'm fat and I just want them. Like I have a thing of Oreos here, but I'm still like, she makes fudge. Like all different kinds. And like I've seen so much stuff she makes. I'm like, I just want food.
Her brownies are also really good.
So if you make it to autumn colors, Um, I forgot to ask this when I was talking about it. There's what's called the Young Gun Shootout. Do you think if someone offers you their mini stock to go for the young guns, you'd try it or
I don't know. I feel like that would be a on the fly decision.
well, I tell you what, if you come to Colors with Chris and stuff like that for the weekend, the Friday night there's called what the Young Gun Shootout, and there's one for the mini stocks and there's one for the super stocks, right? So I think it's like 25 and under or something like that, or 23 and under for the mini stocks, and it's like 25 and under for the super stocks or something like that. I don't remember the age limits. But yeah, bring your fire suit and stuff like that just in case, because there's a good chance somebody will throw you in the car, especially just let you have fun. And mini stocks are really fun to drive because you have so much more grip.
Yeah,
And then you get to try a new track.
yeah, true.
And I'm sure Chris will help you there anyway.
Probably.
So who do you think, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who do you think is getting the next Chris Lawrence, like official, like, I don't know how to call this properly without getting in trouble, but we'll call it the trophy person kiss in the victory lane.
Hmm. I think probably I would say at Delaware, probably Phil or hopefully Cassie soon because we figured out the issue with her car. So hopefully Cassie soon, but I would probably say Phil.
All right. What do you think of Chris being the honorary trophy person nowadays?
It's pretty interesting.
It's Chris being Chris, pretty much, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, what's it like driving? I don't know if I want to say for or with Chris because I'm not sure which word's proper. But like, he's got the captain sailor suit on. I've seen half the times. Like, is he like that wacky loony every time, or is it just like that's just Chris?
That's just Chris. We call him Captain Chris, so yep. Pretty much explains it.
Right. So I'm gonna, let you go for the night, and this way you can go get prepped because you're racing, well, 2 days from now, but it's going to be a week after this is released. No, a week before this is released. But I realize we can do your fan giveaway question because people don't have to answer it until this comes out. So you'll have the answer ready.
Yeah.
So you decided you're going to do a fan giveaway. So why don't you tell people what it is and what the question is and how they can, get a hold of you.
I think we're gonna do a large one of my shirts, so my Jesse Howard shirt, and the question's gonna be what is my top like my best finish in a feature. So
So, and then they can message you, and then they'll be putting a draw if there's a bunch of winners and stuff like that, and
yep,
they can get a hold of you by picking it up or getting a hold of your sister by picking it up.
yep,
So hopefully this comes out on Friday. So hopefully when it comes out, that answer will change that night.
hopefully.
So if it comes out and you do better that Friday, it's bonus points if you do better that Friday.
Yep.
All right. So have yourself a good night. Stay out of trouble and don't do any racing on the roads. It's bad for you.
I'll try not to. Thanks for having me.
Night. So that was Jesse Howard. We are very grateful for us joining us this week and being our second guest on Rookie Month. She is running down at Delaware, and she is doing a giveaway of a free T-shirt that Cassie, her sister, makes to help support BT Racing. BT Racing has a bunch of great merchandise. Chris Lawrence and Joe Lawrence, Cassie Howard, Miss Penny, Phil Givens. Oh, there's a lot of drivers. I don't even know the entire list. Um, I'm hoping Chris maybe can do an entire list. And I know, unfortunately, the Lawrence's Pro Late model had an engine failure. So they're going to be doing a engine T-shirt sell-off or something like that. Just trying to get a new 604 crate engine for the Pro Late. Um, but yeah, that's it's unfortunate because they were having a good season, and I don't like seeing people struggle that are having a good season fighting. Mom's 604 has apparently let them down, but Hope maybe she'll grab a second one for them. Who knows? So I can still say Mom 604 on the hood. Because I think that's one of the coolest things ever that it said that on the hood for the longest time. So with Jessy's giveaway, that being her best feature finish to date, because this release is Friday at 1 o'clock, you have until she races Friday at Delaware, because I believe she's racing this week at Delaware, to answer. The answer might change after Friday. So anyone that's answered Friday after this is released, we will accept the answer that sorry, cat wandering by. So we'll accept the answer that is currently correct, but if she does beat it, you can give the answer that she gets on Friday if that is taking over the best feature finish. So with going on to another topic, I've been talking with Peterborough Speedway, and we have got the full go-ahead to start running lap sponsorships for Autumn Colors. Yes, this is 2 months away, but this is a huge event. I am taking on 4 divisions. I am taking on the bone stocks, the mini stocks, the late models, and the super stocks. That is $13,120 worth of lap sponsorship, not including any contingency sponsors or anyone that goes over and above that sponsors purse money, like Lakeside Mobile Tire sponsoring $500 in the mini stock and bone stock. That will not be included into what I just mentioned. It's still going to be going to the racers, but this is how we are trying to help racers get a little bit more money into their pockets for attending Autumn Colors. So if you'd like to sponsor laps, the bone stocks are $20 per lap. It's a 40-lap feature event. The mini stocks are a 67 lap. It's a Melissa Bullen Memorial race. They're $30 per lap. The super stocks are a 50-lap event, and they are $40 per lap. And then the pro late models are 167 laps at $50 a lap. So there's those sponsorships that were per lap. And then I have what I call contingency sponsors. So if you want to sponsor the longest haul in the mini stock division, or the top finishing dirt car, or the top finishing car from your track, you can sponsor any amount at all. I don't care if you want to do $10 or something like that. It's going directly to that driver. And that is pretty much going to be extra again on top of the lap sponsors. So I think I did the math earlier that it's the 40 laps at $20 is going to be $800 into the bone stock purse plus the Lakeside bonus, which brings it to about $1,300 bonus money into the pool if we sell everything, plus any contingency sponsors, etc. The mini stocks are, I think, $2,010. I think it was. The super stocks are $2,000. And the pro late models, if I can sell all 167 laps, will be like $8,300. I think it's 8,350 is the exact number. So if you are looking to sponsor a piece of Autumn Colors where it directly helps drivers and competitors get more money in their pockets, message me, Peterborough Speedway. We're working together on this. I have full permission from them. They're going to be giving me logos and stuff like that, so I got to make up full promo flyers and et cetera, et cetera. John from Jomo Media is going to help me out with stuff like that because I'm not so computer savvy. But yeah, looking forward to playoffs already. I'm going to go run. If the neon's not sold September 2nd, as promised, it can leave on the trailer that night. Someone can literally buy that car on the 2nd as it comes off the racetrack when I'm done. Bring the cash. It's good to go. Same as a super stock. I would love to go home with an empty trailer that night. But yeah, so long story short, I've sponsored some prizes in the Alan Larkin. I think it's Larkin. I always pronounce it wrong. Super stock race at, or not, sorry, super stock, the mini stock race at Sunset Speedway. Let me see if I can pronounce it here. If I have a thing. Sorry, Alan Lankin Cup. So yeah, we have a one lap, and then I sponsored another award. I don't remember what it was. Then we have a lap sponsorship in the Junior Handling Classic at Sunset. Um, I've put a lap in for each one of the divisions for Autumn Coast Classic. So not only am I trying to do all the legwork, get this done, I am putting money into the pot for you guys as well. Hopefully it brings some good publicity to Peterborough Speedway and the competitors. And hopefully this brings out a lot of cars. Because the idea is if we put more money into the pot, there will be more cars to run for that money. And a lot of these things are not going to be based towards the front by what's coming in, especially for the bone stocks. I'm seeing a lot of mid-pack bonuses being added. I'm seeing some people messaging me about some hard luck awards and et cetera, et cetera. So I feel like if you're not already racing on Thanksgiving weekend, you should come to the colors and try it out. It's a huge party. For those of you who haven't attended Autumn Colors before, move-in day for camping is Wednesday. You can message JP if there's any camping spots available. I don't think there is, but you can message JP at Peterborough Speedway about any camping spots or if there's any hotels or etc. We usually move in the cars and tech on Thursday if we can. If not, there's tech Friday before racing starts. Friday starts the race program where we have the first set of heat races, and we had the last few years we've had the Young Gun Showdown. I believe the OMRS Tour mods are doing a show on Friday. Saturday you have second round of heats, plus you have a few one-day shows like I think the Outlaw Midgets and a few other divisions come in. And then Sunday is all features. So you have every feature all day, you start, I think it's 11 o'clock in the morning or 12 o'clock noon, and we race until the end of the day. They have barn parties on one night. They have concerts another night. There's usually something always going on in the campgrounds. It's one of my favorite events of the year. I do enjoy going to hang out at Frost Fest and Velocity and stuff like that as well. But I probably won't be doing them this year because I probably won't have a car to go, hopefully. But we'll see. It all depends on scheduling and stuff too. So I am going to try to make it down to a bunch of shows, even as a podcast this year. So like I might make it to a Saturday show of Frostfest and Velocity, etc., to try to help promote the shows. I'm thinking about getting the camera going and doing maybe some live interviews with drivers and etc., so I can upload that. But I haven't really experimented with that yet. So we will try that eventually. But we are coming down close to a lot of championships and stuff like that. So maybe if you can comment down below of who's leading what championship, where you are in the points if you're watching this. And what's your favorite racetrack to go to? Another thing that we've been talking about tonight online is the dirt versus asphalt mini stock battle we had back in 2014. Of dirt guys coming to pavement, pavement guys going to dirt. In 2024, is there a possibility of bringing dirt versus asphalt back? And the way this would have to work is, I know that there's a lot of tours and etc. like that, but we'd have to almost work together as a province, a whole province, of setting, say, 4 dates. We can pick out of a hat. We can pick 2 dirt tracks and we can pick 2 asphalt tracks. The rules will be dirt cars have to be dirt car legal, then switch tires and rims. The asphalt cars have to be asphalt cars. They can switch tires and rims to switch tracks. So if it's a legal car at Peterborough, it should be legal for this event. You run your weights and everything like that. Because dirt guys will have the advantage on dirt, asphalt guys will have the advantage on asphalt. I'd like to see this as, like I said, a 4-race mini series. If we can find weeks that mini stocks are off at all tracks and make, say we pull Sunset. So, all right, Sunset is round 1. Let's see if we can get like $1,000 payout for the winner, et cetera, et cetera. Do like a mini point series, kind of like the Summer Rush. It'd be cool. I don't know if it's feasible. I know it's one of those things that's like everyone's like, oh, not another tour and stuff. But if we can do this around nights off, so people that are going to go somewhere else on nights off anyway, because they race every week and that's what they enjoy, they're the ones that are going to follow this series. And if we can get a friendly battle between dirt and asphalt and kind of bring these worlds kind of closer together, I think it'd be fun. Because I think a lot of guys that did that back in 2014 enjoyed themselves. I know as a bonestock, I participated in one of the mini stock races. Got my ass whooped. Beat a couple of dirt cars, I know that. But got my ass whooped by Tyler Junkin and Babin. I think they lapped me like 7 times. But that was also my first year racing too, so it is what it is. But yeah, let me know if that's something you want to see me try to work back into existence. I can always try to work with tracks and see if they're willing to put something like this on, and then it's about drivers supporting the show. I've seen a thing about the Gold Rush down at Flamborough not doing well. Huge payout. Apparently they had very minimal cars, which we need to get cars there, and we need to get fans in the stands. Like, as much as I'm a Peterborough driver, I don't want to see any of these tracks not make it because we're not getting fans in the stands. I've traveled down to Flamborough once or twice this year as a competitor or to watch. I went down there the last time G-Force was filming, talked with Adam Ross and Clinton Jeffries and etc. What are some ideas that maybe they can try to get fans back in the stands? Or is there a way that, like, do we look at maybe Flamborough possibly try Sundays? Is that a thing that maybe they can look into? I know they have karting and stuff like that too, but what's the way that we can get tracks to survive? Is it because 5 or 6 tracks are all racing on Saturday and we're splitting up the fan base? Or is it just we need to find something else to help the Caselli family succeed there with fans and drivers? Peterborough Speedway, I think, is doing pretty good. The fans have seemed to be packed in there this year, and we've had tons of drivers. The pits were basically full this week. With Oscar mods, outlaw midgets, and the hot rods, and then 2 home track divisions. But it's one of those things that I haven't been up to Sunset this year, so I'm not sure how they're doing. Or so a lot of the dirt tracks. I've been to Brighton once or twice, and they've seemed to have the cars and the fan base, and yeah. So any ideas? I'll gladly message them. I'll let them know because ideas are probably always wanted to how they can get fans back in the stands. Do they need to try to do a cheap night like Peterborough Speedway to pack that place beginning of the year? Because I think Flamborough could hold more people in the stands than Peterborough Speedway. I'm not sure max capacity to max capacity, but it looks visually like it could hold more people. So yeah, maybe he can do a cheap admission night at the beginning of the year to get people interested, get people going where they want to go back, and then it sells itself, right? Another thing is how do we get more cars down to Flamborough? So Peterborough Speedway was off in the super stocks and the late models and stuff, and well, I wouldn't even say two Peterborough Speedway cars. One Peterborough Speedway car was down there. I think Bailey's running Sunset now, and then there was one Flamborough car for the super stocks. They're giving away free engine in the super stock class, and they're not getting guys other than one guy to just to run it. I don't think that's fair to those guys. Meaning the track, these guys are putting on a huge prize of a 602 crate engine, or a 604, I think, because I think it's split between them and the late models. They put half decent payouts out just like every other track, and they're not getting the support. I don't know why. They're a pretty good track. They've always been good to me, same as Peterborough. But yeah, let's try to get all the racetracks packed. If you are a race fan, take a couple friends to the racetrack each week. If they like it, they're going to take a couple friends. They're going to take a friend. So we need to start packing these places, and it comes from a fan level. I try to bring people when I can. I know Jomo brings people. I try to bring a couple people every year. Yeah, maybe we'll do some giveaways for some like Slam Row tickets, stuff like that, and maybe get some more people in the gates. But next week's guest is supposed to be Clayton Reed. Hoping to record with him soon. And I wish you guys all a good afternoon. And thank you for listening to me interview Jesse Howard and me ramble on about some other things that we got going on. Once again, this week you'll see me at Peterborough Speedway. I'll be in the mini stock again. The super stock is off because the APC and Quick Series is at Sunset Speedway. But have yourselves a good day.